Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Okay, so tuning back into BlazBlue Town Hall. So there's an update that came in for the next I guess main event, whatever type of setup that's going on here. Even I retweeted this. This is a part of the dialogue from what was it? This is part of the dialogue from Intertwining Fates that I read at the start of the year. This is going over Friday night's main fate process. This is for PC this week, so this could even be a general rotation back and forth between, what is it, PlayStation. It could be a back and forth between PlayStation and PC. So we got to see where the process of this actually goes. Here, what I'm looking for is going over like the whole form outline for it. So there's going to be, the registration is open until Friday, January 23rd at 4 p.m. Central Standard Time. It's PC this time. Like I said, there could be a chance that it also could be bouncing back and forth between console and PlayStation both. And it takes us right to Intertwining Fates server. Takes us right to Intertwining Fates server. So the premise of this for Friday night's main fate. Friday night's main fate is inspired by an 80s aesthetic and the golden era of professional wrestling. The goal is to create a larger-than-life, over-the-top exhibition match, or matches, that is both fun and competitive. A great environment to practice, perform, and test yourself against strong opponents, and of course giving the spotlight that the participants deserve. Okay, I could probably get in on that shit. Sign up and claim your place on the card. Please write down the name you want to be presented on the card. Write down the team you feel represents you the most. Write down which part of NA you're from. Kind comments. You know what? This actually sounds fairly honest for all intents and purposes. Probably see myself playing something like this. And then just seeing where it goes. I'm surprised I never thought about any of this before. Like, it's a very creative and intricate, well, intricate of course, but it's a very intriguing premise to go into wanting to do more with the premise of exhibitions and delving into more exhibition-based content as opposed to delving more into the tournament aspect that Intertwining Fates was generally known for. So maybe this year going in a different direction for exhibitions, more than PC stuff, or more than tournaments, is a proper pivot to try and re-energize and revitalize interest for growing the scene up in a more positive light. So I'll give Cykes my credit on this one. I think this is like a pretty prosperous idea. It just depends on how often that they're doing this in the server. That's the main thing that I'm worried about. Looking back over my tickets here in the city. So I have one here for Plus Frames. I have one for Crackin Akins. I have the 5 here for Pockets Crossing Fate between number 28, 25, 24, 22, and 18. The Railfire Legion. I have one for the Cram session, it's just presented in a different format. I have 2 to Fade Friday, and then I have the 1 for WNF 2v2, the special event. The ones that are missing from the arrangement are the Training Mode Network, the WNF Singles Bracket, Sunday by the Casino, D&D, and the Big 8. It's not a bad ratio, I suppose. I think what just throws me off is just the fact of these other elements being that are easily accessible, more easily accessible, being only relevant on PC, where it's the crappier port to access, and still lackluster matchmaking processes in order to be prepped for these things the few times that they're accessible, versus the PlayStation, where it's just one avenue here that is on PlayStation, and it's just every Tuesday. That's not a bad thing. It continues to be a very pestilential process as the balancing act for practicing for that versus just playing is inconsistent, and matchmaking is also just as crappy on console as it is on PC. And then Seth Sunday I'm just banned from, so I don't accept a loss that I'm happy about. And so if any others come out, then I'll try and see if I can keep tabs on these. But for right now, I guess I can be gradually accepting of all these results and tickets as I continue my proficiency with understanding BlazBlue, the mechanics, the cross tag assessment, and then understanding the characters that I took to try to learn. Because it wasn't my goal to try and learn the whole roster, just apply the characters I find fun or fascinating with the main character in order to try to make the most of my adjusting situations, despite people's lacking input to play other characters or play other characters that are less complicated than Rachel. It's not that I approach her for the complexity, it's just she's the only character that I give a damn when I play the game. If I wanted to play easier characters, I could, but then it wouldn't be fun because I'm not playing the character that I came here in which to play. And so, hey, I'm me. At the same time, I can try to gradually adapt and learn how to make good with the good and adjust with the bad. That way it's not as bad. I can actually turn a bad thing into a good thing as I'm trying to have continued learning experiences. So, if this hurts anybody's feelings, I want you to just keep moving. I respectfully held up my end of the deal to continue investing into BlazBlue cross tag battle despite all the signs and pushes for me to leave, respectfully. I've been stuck thinking about a lot of what I wanted to do with this game now with RFL and WNF both gone. It pissed me off long ago about the direction of involvement and engagement, but I wasn't going to let some crappy jankiness uncomplimenting the game's unique mechanics alongside the lacking variety to a Discord fighter stop me from attempting to succeed to the best of my abilities to be the best version of myself to BBTAG's continuity. Also, those suggesting to just keep playing the game or just keep playing BBTAG or improve on what you're doing, I also want those people to shut the fuck up. I want you to just shut your mouth. I played that shit to attempt to enjoy this game with constantly varying, shifting results, affecting sanity more than game sense and mounting proficiency, between winning and losing to shit in this game besides just skill. And it's been pissing me off to no end. I get that this is your crack baby game, but I am going to speak on the shit in this scene that blindly impedes real growth no matter how long you play and no matter how you get better at pressing your face against the damn controller more than another player. It's always here. I think a lot of people are just too naive or too oblivious to pay attention because you're so eager to belong or to be accepted and be acknowledged by people you revere, instead of just removing the veil sometimes. Over calling people out for being lesser than their self-worth or bringing down yours for having standards. I'm going to speak on all this shit. When I'm done, you tell me what's wrong. Or maybe I just need to go or step away for a while or just go screw off somewhere. I don't know. But you tell me what my problem is or what the game's problem is. Because I've been sitting on this shit for the past 2.5 years of the 3 years I've been playing this game. After seeing all of this shit. And I just refuse to keep my peace if people don't want to listen to my peace because, oh, it disturbs the order, or they're not going to believe you, or they don't believe me anyways. Because you're sitting there sucking the dick of other people that are just natural figures to the scene that may or may not see things this way. First, I want to start with Wednesday night fights, WNF. Let's start here because this was a part of the fight all last year before the last nail in the coffin sealed its own fate. The last WNF, I'm only going to talk on the last WNF and then the premise of it. The hierarchy in which I owed WNF was to Iacon 25. I already talked about that respectfully in my previous doc regarding my thoughts on Wednesday night fights and going over the premise on how everything is kind of shifting from one generation to the next. I talked about that. This is something different that I didn't talk about then because this is a more personal issue that I didn't want to have my personal issues and debates be a part of that video. It wouldn't be respecting to the former. Back to what I said. I'm talking on the last one here. I was pissed with the seating for this one. This particular one out of all 46 events played, because of the rotation of players in the comp gallery, I could have actually fought against other than Church that I wanted to fade from. I know there's 50 total. I missed 4 of them, respectfully speaking, so I had to make it up to myself. Anyways, I wanted the smoke from a lot of fuckers all through the past year, literally, and couldn't have that for X number of reasons I hear recycled through a lot of the time. I'm too busy. Oh, I just got off the game. You can get back on the fucking game. Oh, my friend's calling me. Whoop-de-doo. My friends blow up my inbox between PC and PSN on a daily basis, and I still train in the lab, or I go play hooky playing either Fortnite or My Hero Ultra Rumble, and then I still get back to them. Your point? So just cut the crap. Like, the case in point is that I'm still not good or considered decent by this community's crappy, illusioned, stupid standard of not being monkey enough to 1v1 them like when they ask, and anybody plays anybody cause this part doesn't exist for them. Literally, anybody can play anybody because the whole point of needing to prove that you're a fucking gorilla doesn't exist when it's already a whole batch of monkeys. I would have been happy fighting He Homeboy. I would have been happy fighting Crazy Salvi. I would have been fine with Reich. I would have been fine with Yosoro. I would have been fine with Riazo. I would have been ecstatic with Guzman. Heck, I would have even been happy fighting your favorite scrub. All these monsters, all these players were rotated across my seating amidst most of that evening for Wednesday Night Fights' finale that I actually wanted to fight against, being way better opponents than myself that were edited around my bracket setting. I would have happily played vastly more than Church. Are they powerful? Yes. More than I'll ever amount to be. I want to fight monsters that I learn from, not mashers I regret playing, but fuck what I want. Also, I shut out that thinking. To those thinking that I'm incorrect because it's a silent truth, understanding I wasn't here at the dawn of the title released by default to naturally be in step or in tow or be integrated to smoother game sense by now. Next, the WNF PSN finale is one of the few setups I was actually proud of because it actually established physical and emotionally charged progress of a whole year's time, dedicating my set free time to the tag fighter craft to hone it better to this game's mechanics to reward that consistency. Not for going head to head just to get railroaded in a set play shaft by Cykes, but because I could actually almost match Serene in direct combat at my present peak performance. In that entire setting of top 16 to contesting for top 8. In some weird, cheesy circle of life understanding, it makes sense that a closing pinnacle of console would house numerous challenges to bypass for the one time because it's the last time. And then the one challenge here being Serene, and for what I want, which is that single solo top 8 bid. The one single time. It was another match with a high-level player that I could be proud of after constant fumbles and oiled hoeings out of games, neutrals, combos, and connections. I lost this one because I simply was outplayed more than out-Mickey'd, whereas Serene actually almost legitly lost, had I buckled down on patience and a lightly optimized confirmed game plan. PvP code switching, basically, to change up my play style. It's in that instance where it was on me to have or secure winning the neutral in those situations, and it's a part of the learning curve to always have our best response applicable for the situation, right? It's instances like that where, despite likely not winning, I, to a degree, can actually see the genuine growth from the struggle in contesting for the win. The point isn't that I can beat Serene. The point is that I can contest him honorably on his terms. Like, I actually have fought him enough times to say I could be potentially even with Serene. That's a really strong statement that I take pride in actually saying. To a degree, I can say with my chest out, I can kind of take him. I just have to work at it. Going to WNF all year, my objective was to simply level up, get the one single placement to the branding. Same like Training Mode Network or even the Big 8. This was long before that announcement dropped that changed all of this. When the announcement had happened, this almost changed everything I believed in for self-development. In the early stages, I began focusing the whole of the latter half of 2025 simply to work on the game and power through the engagement issues to get better at playing BBTAG or processing better decision making in BBTAG. I didn't care about optimizing combos. I had to sit there and be in the lab for hours and hours added on end in order to try and do a whole bunch of added combos and shit. Then get used to trying to do them online and all those extra sittings. Then you have to get used to differing people and how to get used to different comfort levels and do all that extra shit. I'm not doing all that extra stupid shit. I got better things to do with my time, like try and keep my sanity, keep my job, and all this other stuff IRL that I'm juggling with gaming life, and a constant tumultuous gaming life at that, between 2 and 3 different scenes that I have to have an upkeep for casually and competitively. So you'll excuse me if I don't focus optimizing combos that much. It's more so the neutral on this game that's more important than the combo optimization, because the neutral is damn near non-existent in a lot of matchups. So what good is learning a beautiful combo if you're never in the right situation at any point in time throughout the whole match to do it? Anyways, when that announcement had dropped, this almost changed everything I believed in for self-development here. My keepsake was to just get a top 8 ticket and leave it there. I saw a glimpse of almost having it a couple of times in 2024, so the concept isn't out of reach totally. I just have to work a bit harder, or a lot harder, or else apply better Mickey nonsense with game sense to secure it. There's a lot more that's unforgiving about BBTAG than just the engine's learning pace, and I have to make the most of it to help myself, because it's only going to get harder thinking that it gets easier here. It becomes more intricate as neutral rhythm and confirm optimization reward all revolve around the active tag mechanic and the cross tag engine for a whole pivotal roller coaster effect. I just wanted to stick to what's been working. I wanted to fight anyone, because it's the only option that can be applied for investment or results. That's what I believed, because that was the norm all the time I played, and it stayed on this game the past 3 years. There aren't easy opponents. There are no beginner brackets that would have eased the process until I came to PC, and I'm going to get to that later. The percentage of people my skill range are low here at the cost of a better scheduling. The percentage of higher level people is decently abundant as a norm due to the vast gap of play and age of the game both. With time working against me, I decided to drop DBFZ and play this horror game generally so it becomes more consistent to reach my set goal despite my disgust for BBTAG at this point and it gradually growing. I just keep it to myself because I'm around a whole bunch of blaze babies that sit there and suck this game's dick all day. And I get it. I hear a whole bunch of them talk shit about Dragon Ball FighterZ. I hold my tongue despite being a natural native to Dragon Ball FighterZ, and nobody here wants to see me on that game for some reason. But I don't care. I hate that I had to pick up Adachi and apply him with my game plan. I never in my life wanted to play that stupid character. I never wanted to do that. But desperate times call for desperate measures. I understand that I have to deal with that hypocrisy and shame from here onward in playing the crappiest character in the game next to some Yumi or Nine. I never wanted to play Adachi. I just needed to do it. I just needed to do it back to people. Win the game, and then move on once I can successfully drop the game. He sadly covers a lot of the skill gap and decision-making commitment I need to house by this time to compete fully at this level, and is easier to apply with Rachel's game plan of full screen neutral in a set rhythm. I have to accept being carried a bit more than usual now. I also have to think outside the box all the time on how to apply him, because every jackass in the community uses this character. The way I move or play will be simple or pedestrian for a long while till I find some cursed tech that works as an option that I can throw out in order to start layering. A lot of people aren't ashamed of using Adachi because he's a character and players play to win. Or they have some other excuse that they tell themselves is copium for just playing a top tier character when they don't want to turn their brains on. I know the tricks, don't screw with me. He's not unbeatable, he's just really annoying with converting confirms into damage at high rates. The Adachi Rachel shell is likely the strongest shell in my kit, replacing the former Cake-inspired Rachel and Batista zoning shell for the same full-screen neutral and confirm optimization play template. During the latter portion of WNF, so like 3 months later, was when that team shell started doing catch-up work for results. Was I satisfied? Debatable, but not fully. Out of 46 contests for that top 8 spot, I had 4 actual contests, approximately, where they came short of knowing that one character, or else knowing themselves, knowing that person. One or the other was why I came up short. I'm happy I was able to have some sense of a decently noticeable level up, despite others not seeing it. I abhor that Adachi has to be a tag-along now for my sake, but that's the burden I gotta deal with now, and so I'm ready to go on ahead and face the hypocrisy allegations as those come up. I'm happy me and Patneko achieved our 2 versus 2 run in their WNF Team Partner Special. That was our first time actually placing at the event ever, and we did that together. We did it as a team. We haven't placed in the event's normal bracket proceedings. I'm happy about that, don't get me wrong. I was saddened that I don't have a singles division WNF ticket to my name from the usual event line in a solo run, and that this will unfortunately never happen again or be an opportunity to apply. So this I do have to take with me, and I just gradually come to terms with it to better understand that this is what it is right now. The BBTAG matchmaking, this is still dog shit. It hasn't gotten better over time, let alone a year's time. People still don't respond at sensible early times. The graveyard hour pings almost always exist past 2 a.m., and I'm not for that stupid crap. My own personal chats have had 0 response for personal ping a large majority of the time unless it's about Iacon. Wow, why am I not surprised? Then people pay it mind a lot of the time or slowly pull up after the fact or after I leave, like an hour, 2 hours after the fact. Like, bro. Then I go to the main chat. I might see a degenerate ping 2, 3 o'clock in the morning where people can get things going for a little bit of the time. Or when I get home early from work, when I'm at like 2, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that's just dead. Or nobody's on the game. Or, oh, I just got off the game. I don't care, dude. I stopped using intertwining fates as matchmaking because I stopped being patient with that scene and accepted a lot of its mediocrity for a sense of casual engagement with the games. It's an extremely low percentage of players that made the experience of learning welcoming and decently educational. It's just that they're not around a lot of the time to really resume that push that I'm pulling. So I just take it as I will. The transparency with some players where I know that they're not naturally around but can help out where they're able to, I try to accept those more than the people that are just never around, period, or that only need me for Iacon, use me for Iacon, or those that just don't really have a sense of transparency or communications with wanting to talk to me, but just talk through me. And so I have to deal with a lot of social RNG in that regard. So we got to deal with the RNG of the queue, and I don't really care to gamble another year being disappointed over being impressed. There are better growth practices, like not doing it at all for my sake. And then here we go with the taxon. You can use it now. People are active. Hey, just try to stay in the queue for now. Okay, why not go talk in it now? People seem to be active in it. How about you do that then? How about you go play then? You go play that stupid shit. Half of them don't answer when people go to ping, or at least when I go to ping, despite being right there 20, 30 minutes later.
Oh yeah, he needs a surgery.
So it makes no difference to me. It's just chit chat that's always there. You can always afford to chit chat. There's always people that are applicable to just sit there and talk. But if I only have time for games, or I want to mainly try to focus on the gaming aspect, and then I can focus on chit chat when I don't have time to play, I can at least sit and talk. Okay, I can do that. But I can't do the latter that I initially came on in which to do, respectfully, because of ABC that's wrong with the game, or just not being in the mood. Another thing there with the game being tied to a mood, or being tied to a perception of somebody else's skill level, in my opinion. So you do that. You can take the overbearing positivity somewhere else, because all that shit was already applied. You just don't follow me to stay in the know of anything that's going on here. You just think that what you're thinking and what you're doing is what works all the time. It's what works for you, dumbass. Listen, we all had people sitting there. We had people sitting there on the final event broadcasting for WNF, balling, calling for wanting to do better. Oh, we're gonna stay a community. We'll be growing more every day from here on out. I was laughing some all the way at the way you all were just putting on the biggest front possible to kiss ass in front of the community, knowing damn well half you people aren't going to do anything for productivity unless money is involved in the equation for you. Not for the scene, but for you. Over half the scene stood there in that chat and lied. Like, give me a break, dude. Stop sucking dick to save face to an image you never had genuinely. Just stand in your darkness. Let people judge you as they will anyways. Oh, whoops, I guess you don't want to be judged. You want to just do that to other people, right? I assume nothing will happen just because you're you. Next, I want to talk about something with E30. And I want to talk about the hypocrisy that he noticed. I want to go over this scenes-rooted hypocrisy, and that we've seen it. We've been there for time immemorial. People I'm around, mainly a lot, just don't see this shit because they're always looking on the bright side, or just kind of just physically like not paying attention to it, or instead of doing something about it to coordinate seeds of better engagement for invested players and master monkey ass players. I want to revisit this piece of what Red E30 said in his farewell documentation to the scene, because it stood out to me and it connects the dots so justly that there's an open bias in the BBTAG scene. I assume that after the first year being here, I assumed that. Before I even met the people now, going into the year 2 and forward, I trust my instincts because I've actually felt pretenses of this in most places that I go around here, that are around certain people at the top or close to the top, that just feels like they push a bias. And I feel like I am right. A couple of them I know that I'm right. We've been in a bias setting too long from different scenes over the years that I just smell it on people. I can smell it like rotten fruit. Here's the insert I read from Ready 30's logs. Another reason for my feelings of burnout isn't exactly a problem with the BBTAG scene specifically, but with the FGC as a whole. In the tag scene and outside of the tag scene and genre, I've witnessed several occasions of what I can only describe as an idolization for certain players for being able to play the game well. But those same people honestly have some pretty horrible and or toxic behaviors. Time and time again, I've seen those people go unchecked in their poor behavior. One of the biggest things that I've always hated is that some people are more than happy looking the other way when someone is being toxic, all because they press buttons good. The tag scene has been better about it lately in terms of holding some of those people accountable for their words and actions. But early on, for a while, some of these behaviors went unchecked. For me personally, it's always hard to coexist with toxic individuals. Seeing those same people get idolized for their in-game performance is draining to witness. That right there, this post wasn't a lightweight read. People have actually had to lock in order to read his speech and grasp his meaning. If they did, why don't you look at this? This has dozens and dozens of likes and retweets. I want to ask someone out there in the scene, and I want you to be honest, don't bullshit me. Did you actually take the time to read Ready 30's post? Like, actually read it. I want you to comment down below. That was the realest I've ever seen that man actually speak about this community. In a good way, and in an honest way that some people could see as bad or just being, oh, that's just him, or oh, he's just messing. No, listen to him. I want you to comment down below if you heard what he said. Because as respected as Ready 30 is in theory, I'm going to assume over half the onlookers never even read any of those 5 pages of the documentary. Real talk. There's a bias that existed for BBTAG over the course of years. He's another example that's literally pointed out the past people, and I pointed out that the past people sometimes were exceptional or never checked on their stupid shit because they press buttons really good. The whole reason why they're never given a slap on the they're only given a slap on the wrist and not more in order to actually probably exonerate general participation in the community is because they're good players or because they're seen as good, and it would cause complications by trying to reprimand them or correct them. And this was many instances, not some offbeat one and done. I wish Red could have given less vagueness to that piece on his statement, because I'd say something on it now while I'm going through for those people to do better or to stop treating them differently. I could have assumed anybody for this. Like, it could have been Cykes for all I know. It could have been Lavender. It could have been True Care. Like, or it could even be some random dinner plate throwing hands. He was vague because he didn't want to say names. I respect that decision, yes. He doesn't want the smoke for being too honest. But this is the thing. When you have the power sometimes, you can't be directly scared to say something on others' behavior that will create the wave of change for the better of people's habits and equal treatment. There was there's the Vortex Gala 2024 chat incident with a couple of people. There was the PCF chat instances 2 or 3 different times in PCF before PCF 13. Might have been more than that once, to be honest, but I don't watch running hands like that. And then the X amount of instances that Ready 30 was probably referencing or possibly referring to in that segment of his doc. There are people at the top or people running a show that have allotted a biased or are rewarded one because of them just being a favorite. This community is littered with weebs, nerds, cringy characters, online warriors, and many offline same heads, VTubers, and pronoun perfectionists or some sexy thought-provoking entities in their notice me senpai rituals. Additionally, all or most of them aren't slouches for noticing shit like this if they fuck up more than once, expecting to get spoken to, yet you look the other way because the show's gotta go on. No, you need to address that shit now with those people. One person or persons is not above a program. When are you gonna get that shit? But, oh, I run the show, it doesn't matter. Oh, he's just bugging. The quality editing creates vague to noticeable negative ripple effects you don't want just because you're non-confrontational about bad social habits good or amazing players have that could be called out respectfully. Don't gotta be a whole scene trying to be a justice warrior. You don't need to create a whole scene. But you just need to quickly correct them in a simple tone. Tone is the key to everything. The problem here is so many people, but the few, aren't the confrontational type, and it's sad. It sadly shows that you don't have the grapefruits big enough to lay the hammer down on your star characters or your best friends that also happen to be big players or high-level players for fear of losing popularity or relevance or support. Want to remind some of you folks that you have all the power. As a host, whoever the hell you are, you're always in control. The player is not in control of the host program. The host is in control of everything. That's why your name is on the fucking bill, not them. They profit off of you. You create the profit. Understand that you always have the power. It doesn't matter how much better they are than you or your entire following base watching your patch on the scene or patch of the scene. You're the one in control of everyone's fate here for results or feature filming. And even the exceptional people that are the skilled ones are aware of this. So they're going to be respectful as they should, or try to be, or glaze you more than support or pay attention until they're comfortable. Then they might do the latter. It doesn't mean they will. Why? Because they're defaulting for a successful routine to be on your good side as commonly as possible in order to have a general pivot in good graces. So when they get too lackadaisical, then they might slip up one or two times and you'll look the other way because you won't think about checking them here. That's the key indicator in them trying to take advantage of the good spots that they're in order to be too comfortable or be overzealous or be a little too cross or overstep their boundaries if you set boundaries or a standard. You have to be willing to risk false popularity and your little fleeting time of people liking you and glazing you and dick sucking you raw for upkeep to a standard of yours or that most scenes should have by now in terms of zero tolerance or exceptions for people and low to non out of pocketry to where it makes others uncomfortable. Understand how to act around people, how to socialize like regular people, not normal people, because no one in this damn scene is normal in my honest opinion. Most would rather let the BlazBlue scene stay dead again and reap the rewards of occasional high money tournaments from the one or two scenes openly keeping the few of you relevant over the expansion to crop new talent that can only take place and take off when a scene's alive and not struggling every time it seeks to go in a direction. How do I know all this? Hey, tell you what, why don't you ask Plus Frames? Why don't you go ask the Eclipse that Salphons ran? Why don't you go ask Bakachu on PC and why he left console for PC? Why don't you go ask Fade Friday? Why don't you go ask Iacon? Better yet, why don't you ask Railfire Legion? Wouldn't you like to know where some people can go in order to try to stay improving or establishing contacts, understanding what was lost in the process of a community's social inequality of awareness to better and bring up other scenes than the few cash cows that have already been established because of awareness or lack of awareness or a mood. Then we have tournaments. The tournaments have diminished to a decent chunk now. Even with the one or two scenes I've been helping in order to try to stay visible as they pop up or even just to keep their head above waters. This leaves reliably the Big 8 and Training Mode Network, TGBIA maybe, UMAD Offlines in Canada, IF Intertwining Fates is on hiatus from splintered involvement with a lot of stuff Mldorli's been doing. So the next Cram session is to be determined. Iacon at times, whenever I am not hosting or in the mood to host, I would just host and throw one in advance. Fade Friday, maybe. And PCF, I have no idea what the hell Running Hands is doing with that shit. It's been MIA since early January 2025 after the PCF Pinnacle. And then it came back briefly in 2025, one time in order to lead up to me and Running Hands' collaborative for the Iacon PCF, a uni story. That pinnacle was like a $200, $300 pinnacle. That was the last time he was actively involved in anything with PCF before he went into his little Tekken journey. So I don't know. Alongside the surprise RNG of maybe there might be a Tampa Never Sleeps pinnacle, or maybe there might be a Paragon pinnacle. So, reliably speaking, there's only the Big 8 and Training Mode Network amidst all those other variables where they may or may not host something for BlazBlue Cross Tag Battle, probably mainly on PlayStation over PC. That's not a lot of consistent BBTAG promise for continued representation of competitive options, if any, in my honest opinion. Like, these are the recurring elements that are always predictable at the moment. Your community microphones are usually open about these situations. Like you got Nepgear or Lucky Naigi, Marilyn, Mene, or Augury Cat that talk about this shit sometimes in the scenes. And then you got the community clown that never knows what the hell's going on or knows when these things are happening but claims to know everything. It's basically just Prez Cavalier just agreeing to consensus into an actual open consensus of what's going on for inclusion's sake, or for him to kind of just slip through the back door and then hey, he's here, and then hey, he's out randomly because I don't know. The point here being more rewarding to have transparency than expectation. Both may disappoint you, but at least one has a chance of being honest in the process. When tournaments come around, it's just resetting a community dive roll about whether or not people will participate or want to participate, whether or not people are pocket watching events are the right people. Or in PlayStation's sake, people joining in at the literal last second instead of doing it at the start of promotion or advertising to make it easier for everyone involved or going, or even easier for the hosts. I know you got to know your audience and all, but goddamn, dude, is everyone seemingly on stupid timing or demon timing altogether when associated with the game? There can't be this many people in a server locality constantly unaware shit's going on in the same servers where crap is going on generally. You can't be this biased in attention. The community's oblivious and ignorance just gets more creative every rodeo. Now, there's a new projection on the LAN. So, a brand new weekly scene has appeared in the ashes of having lost WNF, slowly replacing that same time slot held by the former. It's called Azure Encore, or AE, and with an alluring logo too. It's pretty beautiful. It kind of gives me Apex Legend E vibes. So I think I kind of know where the artist came from. I see where the artist was coming from. It feels really beautiful in this presentation. It's a very adventurous like. Its initial project launch was rather smooth and seeks to continue a good thing for the next generation of BlazBlue. I'm fence sitting here being involved only because of the origin point of the scene and some of the people involved. It's a massive conflict of interest that also weighs on whether or not I want to really keep playing this game like that or not. I support it because Patneko is one of the co-hosts and has a really great opportunity ahead of him in representing a great cause for the scene in being one of the new leaders of the next generation of BBTAG. I don't support it fully because of Church. Church is the other co-owner of AE. And simply put, her involvement makes this complicated. And I just don't like dealing with them. They both founded the AE scene, so it's a 2-for-1 and equal partnership for them. It's a 2-for-1 unequal
brainstorm for myself. My problem is church at the helm of that program management and running the Discord related to it both. I'm not comfortable with that at all due to church's past hypocrisy and favoritism, or previously kicking me or banning me from her server with no probable cause, and almost doing the same thing in Mldorli's server if I didn't have my event management perms in place with this account after my first account got hacked. She wanted the whole account address banned like I was a bot, but that changed. She can't override the perms set by a higher power in that Discord space. Can't bullshit me out of a said space place just because you're uncomfortable with my presence from a fake problem you did to yourself. Now, going to Azure Discord here, the roles are reversed, trying to seek a good event activity just to arrive at problems again. Here, now she could bullshit me out of a fair experience, or, like other petty people I've studied in other scenes in my podcasts, she could probably honestly just wait till I leave the server and then shadow ban my access point back behind me on my way out the door because I left on my own terms, quote unquote. The setup is just too easy, and I'm not stupid. I'm not going to play that game. I just won't go there or play. And so this leaves only training mode network reliably, and even then I'm at the mercy of an unpredictable rotation of their system because that IP isn't their main game per se. And then with the big 8 is just being free or being aware of a Tuesday setting or Tuesday evening setting in order to just pull up the PlayStation, and then I should be good to go in theory. That has its own problems and trials also, since there's a lot of people there that are not at my level, so it'll just be a struggle bus going up the ladder from there. But after a while I've gotten decently numb to it, so I don't care. Game is game at this point. PCF would be the other logical choice of slow investment since it's on PlayStation. But Hands just up and just left this for Tekken basically. No word, no update, just a long hiatus with a few misleading interactions. So it's best to just let him figure out what he wants to do, and then we'll go from there when it actually surfaces again. It just saves a whole process of a headache in trying to figure out, is he coming back, is he not coming back? And I don't want to be like the rest of the peanut gallery that just hadn't figured out, okay, he's just doing his own thing, he's on a hiatus, so Hands will figure it out when Hands is ready. The audiences of other lanes don't grasp that, okay, about me too, I could also be given a same premise and trying to understand, okay, why hasn't Rod hosted Iacon yet in order to fill in those same blanks? I could be dealt the same hand in a way, because I want success for me, like how I reward this for others, and let off stress that I get also from trying to grow my resources. I appreciate some of this from the BBTAG community that also formed in my following, and I understand how they feel. They understand how I feel about it, and so those are some of my ride or dies that have established in the process of respectfully growing my scene and nurturing it naturally, despite a lot of very blunt halting points where it just gets cut right here and I can't go higher, even though other people should be trying to come to my scene by now and aren't for unfamiliarity reasons. But I appreciate some of this from the BBTAG community, but at the same time, there's many more that just will never know or will care or empathize this, but also not really help it along amidst hidden expectations. At the same time, some of the oblivious people to this scene back at the community here make this overly draining at times, dealing with a chosen hypocrisy here, wanting to see change when the people mainly choose to remain stagnant because they're bored or fleetingly uninterested or only autopilot, or because there's a lower incentive to that changes the outliers to itself, and it's more relevant than most about solely the money. Most of those poisons, you got to pick one of them. The bias here is that the scene doesn't pick one of those struggles. The scene occasionally tries to juggle back and forth between all those options, and then you focus the one that week or that day. I love and hate the game for mixed reasons, not because of the mechanics. I feel this while housing light issues at times is one of the more balanced anime game engines today, with small bugs or tweaks needed that make it wonky or nutty the other half of the time, that people playing the game also take advantage of because it's all in the game to apply, so why wouldn't you? I also hate it for the people. I hate it for the double talking. I hate it for the favoritism, as I had said in the bias standard earlier. There feels like a crossroads here to respectfully walk away from BBTAG and or to keep pushing the matchups so they feel smoother to play, easier to try to react to, or even process the matchup. I have to come to terms with being a hypocrite against my word for the betterment of the grind, but can accept that I had to go that route to make the changes possible that brought me to this point. And so I think, why do I want to resume grinding here when there's so many complications being here? Or who do I even want to 1v1 or play against mostly right now? Is it wrong to feel like I should stop really heavily investing here? Or should I care again? Should I change my focus on playing in exhibitions more than tourneys? Like, the BBTAG board is creating its vision, but also has an open door for other powers that are currently gradually coming up in play here. So where does this leave me and my interests? These personal concerns weigh on my continued engagement and likeness to the community, and I didn't ask for this crap. I just came here to play the game, but to get better at it so that way I can play it better, I got to do all this extra social jumping that I don't care to do, that is halting further progress. I got to make up my mind to probably either drop BBTAG competitive here, relearn my past investments to brush up on some tech, and go a different way for a little while until all is here. I don't know yet. Alright, now I'm done. Now people can talk on this. You can weigh in and voice your opinion here now, being more educated to the facts that have happened, whether you want to know or not. You need to know, not assume, listening to half the shit I tell you. And there's some of you I sit with that I know almost daily that listen to half a story, or none of it at all, because you weren't paying attention. This is the state of play for me that I want to deal with on my terms when I don't want to talk to you, or some of you, because of that lack of attention, when you ask only for you to tune out most of this important yap session. So you tell me, what am I supposed to do? Or what do you think I'm supposed to do with all this shit that I told you? Leave a comment or something down below, because my main thing right now is to just drop the game, pick it up only for tournaments. I'm fine respectfully dealing with the fact that I probably failed to be decent at this game. I have results here and there, but they're not consistent enough for me to say, okay, I'm decent at the game. It's enough for me to at least say I'm somewhat competent at the game. So I will accept that, and I can accept that I'm probably not that great at the game. I don't suck ass at the game, since I do have some results, but at the same time, they're not consistent results. So 6 in one end, half a dozen in the other.